Hello, everyone. Merry Christmas from the fertile tundra of Norway. I hope you're having a wonderful Christmas and welcome to this Christmas special. And I see there's some people online here at this very moment. And again, Merry Christmas to everyone. It's 9 o'clock in the evening here in Norway. The snow has rained away, been washed away during the past couple of days, and the cold but nice snowy landscape we had here just a couple of days ago has all but gone. So it's pitch black outside, and but it's cozy inside the studio here, and I really look forward to this Christmas special where I have a special guest, as many of you know by now, because you've watched saw the thumbnail and everything. And it's a great pleasure of mine to welcome my friend Anders Enger Jensen, and let's bring him in here.
Hei, Espen.
Hallo, god jul.
God jul.
Hvordan går det? Går bra?
Det går bra. Sitter her og venter på å starte, da.
Du kommer deg gjennom jula?
Ja. Med ribbe og kalkun og riskrem.
Surkål og alt?
Ja, uten surkål.
Ja, det er bra. Veldig bra. Well, we should maybe go over to English and stop speaking Norwegian. That very few in the comments understand, I guess. So Merry Christmas to you, Anders. It's been a nice Christmas for you.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And people watching, me and Anders, we are not neighbors as such. He lives about an hour and 40 minutes away from where I live. More towards Oslo, the capital of Norway. And you're in your studio right now, as I can see. And we'll get back to his studio later. What's the temperature in your studio right now, Anders?
About tropical.
About tropical?
Yeah, it's getting hotter. I had to turn on the AC, actually. I couldn't open the door because there's so much traffic outside. You'll probably hear it, so...
Exactly.
The power bill is going up tonight, but that's okay.
That's okay. Thank you for joining us. And I've invited Anders to this Christmas special because I've almost completed my video series, A Song is Born, where I compose a song from scratch and develop it through several episodes into a final song. And if you watch that series, you know that I've done this in a very traditional way by composing the song from start to finish, sitting at a piano, working out chords, structure, and lyrics, etc. And that's really a good reason for inviting Anders to this live session, because today I'm going to challenge him to show us a little bit about his workflow when he works out and flesh out songs from scratch, because his approach is quite different from mine. So I thought it'd be interesting for you guys to see how different our approaches are, even though we both come from the 80s and 90s, and we love vintage synths and harmony, structure, chords, and gear. But again, we work things out differently. Am I right to say that, Anders?
Yeah, we come. Well, you're 5 years older than I, so you started a little bit earlier. But yeah, we stem from the 80s, and me a little bit more 80s, 90s, more or less. So that's correct. We use the hardware way.
Exactly. And yeah, you said it. You're a little bit younger than I, so you're maybe somewhat more based in the early 90s, not as much in the mid 80s where I come from. But before we get into the technical side and the workflow and your synths and your studio, what's your background doing the music things that you do now? How did you start up?
Well, I started back in I think it was 1987. I started, playing the old piano we had in our basement. So, then my parents sent me to this what do you call it, kommunal musikkskole, which is like a music school for kids and everybody. So Then I started playing, Carl Bertil Agnestig, which is the Swedish guy who wrote all the tutorial books for us. And but soon I went a little bit more contemporary. So my teacher, she told me that, okay, you need to go more. You need to find another teacher who was a little bit more contemporary. So I went to a guy who had a little bit more synthesizers, and then I started up doing a little bit more, keyboards and stuff like that. So
Yeah. And you've told me that you also worked at a music store in a place called Gjøvik in your teens, perhaps?
yeah, first years my keyboard wise, if you want to know a little bit more about my gear, my first keyboard was the Technics K200, which was a very dated keyboard at the time. This was in 1989, and I think it's almost 10 years old. So that was all we could afford for 1,000 kroners, and then it rolled from there, and I went my way up a little bit here and there. Gjøvik Music was a little bit later. That was when I had finished my high school and working with Christine.
Exactly.
My vocalist of choice, so to speak. So, but I went away between from keyboard arranger keyboards, trying out. The story is that the first keyboard, the real keyboard I had, that was shall we say closest to a synthesizer, was the Technics KN1000, which was released in 1990. I was my parents set me aside and asked me, "Do you really want to do music? Do you want to kind of like learn and do this for a living, or kind of like invest in it?" And I said yes, of course. They offered to buy me a proper keyboard or a synthesizer or something of some sort. It was I think it was in January of 1990, and I had set my eyes out on in this catalog, Norwegian music, norsk musikk, which had a lot of Ibanez guitars, a lot of Kurzweil and Akai synthesizer samplers. Everything from Akai was sold in that store. I was so in love with this Akai X7000. It looks so cool for a kid that's like 13, 15, or 13, 40 years old.
I know I had one.
Yeah, you have one. Yeah, and you had the sampler, right?
Yes, correct.
So, but I didn't know what I didn't know the limitations of that sampler keyboard, because I thought I think this is a cool keyboard and it could do everything. But there was this guy that my dad had met. He's called Hermund Tronvik. He was working for Technics. He was one of the 5 international composers. He made demo songs, sounds, rhythms, everything, with the 4 other guys, and from Britain, from UK, from America, from Germany, and one guy from Japan. And he told me, no, you don't get the Akai. You want to wait until spring, and then Technics will release the Technics KN1000, which would be revolutionary. And it would kick Roland and Akai and Yamahas way into the woods. So that was true at the time. They had better polyphony, had better sound, so everything was like brand new. And but the main thing was that this is an all-in-one keyboard, which of course was much better for a young kid like myself to start out working on. Because if I went the other route, I would have to get a sequencer, have to get a mixer, speakers, outboard effects, and everything, And then the X7000 is that 6 voice polyphony, right? Isn't it?
6 voices. 6 voices. So,
and one voice at a time, one part.
On the basic version, yes.
Yeah. So, but with this keyboard, you could get 8-track sequencer, accompaniment and everything, and effects and everything. It was all bundled into one, so it was a much more conductive environment to start composing.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah,
I can remember those keyboards from Technics myself, where you had everything really. You had drums, you had the bass, you had the synths, and you had the ability to sequence a little bit and sort of build up songs in that closed environment, as opposed to just having a X7000. You'd only have a 6-voice
yeah, of course.
sampler with one sound, and of course 2 different worlds at the time. So I can surely understand why you went for that. But what happened after that? After you had done your time with the Techniques, and when did you start getting involved with more
Well,
serious synthesizers?
well, the first couple of years it was the Technics platform with the 1000 and then the 2000 in 1994. And I was doing songs and music and playing more or less cover songs with Christina, which some people know from the Silver Image concept that we're doing and stuff like that. So we did actually we did some songs. We did John Evangelis and a lot of power ballads and stuff. And we actually played on NRK for 4 weeks at number 1. That was the local radio, but still.
NRK is the national state broadcaster in Norway.
The broadcaster in Norway. So,
yeah.
But after that, it was around 1996 when Roland released the XB50, which was like the JV 1080 module with the MC50 Mark II sequencer and some extra stuff on the keyboard. So that was. Also, that's a workstation like the Technics series, but much more professional and stuff like that. So without the drum parts and stuff, but with drum sounds, of course. So exactly. And then I started rolling. I went. Every kid does at that point did summer jobs. So I worked my butt off in the summertime and bought gear and Nintendo 64 in 1997, etc.
Exactly.
And then just snowball. But it was a slow start because everything was expensive. So it took long. It was just the keyboard, and I got my sampler, my Roland S760, and then some other gear as well, and I'm slowly building on top of that.
And we can see some gear behind you there in those racks. Yeah. So would you care to talk a little bit of what you have in your studio right now, the racks behind you there?
Yeah, you want to see, let me see, change my cameras. Well, everybody knows the wall racks, which is...
Look at that.
My little gem.
Exactly.
Well, yes, you can see... space is prime estate these days, so you got to keep it compact. So there we have, got to use modules as much as possible. So I just went for the for some racks at the Toman Music and figured I could just stack them like this. So got it on the top here. You know the MPG 70 programmer and the Rev 7 and the mixer and stuff like that, and then we have. All my rolling gear on the right side, some cords in the middle, and just a mixer on the left side because I have to submix everything. And then there's like the biggest jewel of them all are the 3 racks in the bottom, 21 U's from Koenig & Meyer. Yeah. So it's like the Akai or Varis racks on the left side, and then mostly Yamaha in the middle, and then Roland MKS series on the right.
I can definitely see some nice things there, and well, you've been kind enough to let me have some of that for a while. So I've shown a lot of this in my videos, and it's definitely a a wall of sound, to say it like that.
Yeah, this one actually gets quite hot when everything is on. You can kind of feel the heat coming out from the front. So I don't need any heaters going when I'm using my studio.
It's a small power plant right there. But you have some keyboards as well there, I can see.
Yeah, let me see. I have, hang on, I'm using this is the first, I have my keyboard selection. I have 4 racks, 3 on the side and 1 in the back.
Yeah.
So just goes, well, we have the drum machines on the top. You know, the
Yeah.
TR7 and 707, sequential tom, and the HR16. And your Kiwi mod, JX3P.
My old Kiwi JX3P, I can see there, right?
The D50 from Roland, and then behind all my other stuff, there's the W30 sampling keyboard and the JD800.
Stuck behind there.
Hidden behind, so
hidden behind
you
there,
can't see it.
yes.
I need some gear to do this live stream, so you know.
Yes.
And then we have the reface, which I got from the CS from David, you know, the 8-bit guy, and my
8-bit
DX.
guy, yeah.
Then the TS10 from Ensonic, which I'm waiting for you to borrow to make a piece on.
Yeah, sure.
The Fismo, you've seen that before. I have my SD1s, the 32 voice on the top, and then the regular one on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then we have the SY22 from which you also did a piece on, I think. And then
which I almost threw in the bin.
Yeah. And of course the DSS1, which need power. I haven't got any. It's 110 volts. I need an extra cable.
That's a big one.
And then there's my the V50, and in the middle there's the KN1000 from Technics. That's not the exact one I had in back in the day, because I sold it I couldn't afford to keep everything, so I had to buy one keyboard or something, and then you use it, and you sell it, and then you buy something else.
Yeah,
so.
I know that story.
And number 2000 in the bottom. And then we have the last rack here, which is the U20 on the top, with the drum machines on the right and the left. That's the R8. And I got a D70 and an XP80, which you can see here.
Mm-hmm.
And XP80 is just the bigger version of the XP50 and 60 with a bigger sequencer. The same sound module, the JV1080, basically. And Yamaha's flagship at the time in the late 80s, early 90s, wasn't it?
That's a big dinosaur right there. Yeah.
And then Alesis Quadrasynth. So so that's it. And then there's this is what it looks like when you come into my studio.
We'll talk a little bit about your camera setup later, because I've seen some comments in the comment section here about your camera setup for this live stream, which is very impressive actually, and that's part of the reason you have this elaborate camera setup for this live stream is because you now work at an AV firm or audio video broadcasting firm, sort of.
That's Concept.
So you have access to all this good stuff, yeah.
Yeah, Concept Systemer in Norway.
Yeah.
I think we're competing with the big boys. Bright and now CT Technologies. So this is the cameras we use, the Panasonic PT set cameras and some other stuff I bought. I borrowed my mixer for mixing the sound, Yamaha Q1 controller for everything, and then we use Stream Decks. Everybody knows Stream Decks for these days for controlling everything, so I can select all my sources.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And it's very nice that you show us all your racks and keyboards. But what's more impressive is that, apart from me, which I basically almost never have anything hooked up. I only power things on and hook things up when I actually need to record a synth or a sampler or module or whatever. But in your case, you have everything sort of patched into your music computer, your DAW, your DAW, so you can access everything from your
that's correct.
From your workstation, sort of in the studio. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, I like to have. When I'm composing, I rarely have any finalized idea. I just start with the sound, I play with it, and I see where the sound takes me, which means that recording parts and then printing them, into wave files, and then I need to change it later on because this part didn't fit with the other one, and I need to change notes. Which means I've always liked to have all my data ready at my fingertips. So that's why my setup is. Hang on, let me just change it for you guys so you can see my stream. This is my. I'm using Mac, so in Mac OS X you have the audio and MIDI setup, which you can, as long as you just add USB interfaces, they come up. So I have 10 Motu MIDI Express 128 USB interfaces, which are all placed around the studio, which everything is added. So when I add a device, I draw connections from the various interfaces into each device, and then let's see, if you go to, well, let's take the base station, then you can do properties for this one, and you can tell it what manufacturer it is, what model. Not everything is placed in the system. Yeah, I don't know how. I try to figure out how to do that, but you can add properties for known synths. So they have most of the old synths, but some are missing. So then you just do some default information, which will then reflect in your DAW when you're using it. So I've made a couple of templates, which then contains all my racks, and as these are MIDI tracks. So then I have all my, then you can see this one, I have the Alesis QSR. So everything that I put in my audio MIDI setup will come up here as a device with respective channels as well. So then I can change and do stuff like that. So this one, this is the QSR. So that was just, so I can just play this, and then I can scroll down with just using my keyboard, and then play different sounds and go through.
So if I ask you to just go out that for a second, so if I ask you to play like the the SY99, for instance, from your setup, you can reach that from your workstation, or you can also go over there and play it live if you want to.
All the keyboards, I'm using my, as you can see here, hang on, I have to figure out just my, I have so many buttons.
Yeah.
So this is my control station. This is my master keyboard, which I sit. So this one has a dual connection. All the other keyboards only have one connection. It's usually from the interface. Mm-hmm. Hang on, from the interface you can see here to the module. But some of the keyboards have dual connections, which means that they also send back. So I can play keyboard and record from various positions. I usually don't do. I usually just record on my XS7, and because this is I think this has the best key bed of everyone.
That's important. Everyone. That's very important.
And some keyboards tend to send a lot of garbage data, so I had to disconnect a little bit of these settings. So, but this is. I can play with on this keyboard, and I can select the MIDI track here in my DAW. This red arrow indicates which is the current one at the moment. So if I want to play my SY, I have to scroll. There's a lot of keyboards.
Yeah.
Is it?
Could you just repeat what type of master keyboard you play? What's the keyboard you have on your workstation?
This is the Yamaha Motif XS7. It's fairly old at this time. It was, I think they have first the Motif, and then you had this one, the Motif XS, and then the Motif XF, and then some maybe one more, and then there is the Montage series. So this is getting old.
Yeah.
But this is the SY 99, sorry.
Yep.
Then of course I can walk around here. I can go and play this down here.
Exactly.
Okay.
That sound you changed the sound on the SY99 right now. Does that reflect now when you go over to the
No, it doesn't, because it doesn't go.
No.
It's only one way. So if
Okay.
I want to change, I need to go to my DAW here, and I can use patches. Some keyboards are I think this is information that comes from Mark of the Unicorn.
Yeah.
The DAW I'm using Digital Performer, as you can see. And when you install it, they install a lot of data somehow. So some of the synths come bundled with information like this, all the presets, all the internals and multis and stuff like that. But other ones they'll only have let's see, like this, just 128 default patches, because it's not there's no information about detail setup.
Exactly.
So if I want to change the sound, I can go in here and go like this. And I can change sounds. So if they're marked and labeled, and if they match, it will be the same. But sometimes the names will differ because you have loaded custom banks, or maybe it's not the proper presets.
Sure.
So.
But Anders, zoom in on your rack again, or an overall view of your studio setup as it is right now, so we can see as much as possible in one shot there. Let's use that one. Let me just zoom in on that myself here so everyone can see it clearly. And to you guys watching in the stream right now, in the chats, me and Anders, we love vintage gear because we think it brings something special to the table when we make our music, regardless on how we start a song, which we will demonstrate in a minute. We think that vintage synths bring something special to the table. And let me ask you in the chat section, and me and Anders will discuss this a little bit. Is this only vanity? Do we have it because we just want to look at it as it looks in the studio? Or I don't know, because I've watched a lot of videos lately prior to this live stream, because I wanted to get some sort of reflection of what people think. And my perceived idea of what people think is that it would seem that most people think that we use vintage gear because we like to have it, we collect it, or we like to admire it, and we like to put it up on the walls and just have it. But is that true? In my opinion, it's not true, because I have my vintage synths because I think they bring something to the table. I know that others think that as well. But if you have something to comments on that in the chat section here, please let us know what you think about having all this much gear in terms of or compared to plugins. Ultimately, will it sound the same, or do you think vintage gear does actually bring something to the table? Anders, what do you think? Why do you have this gear actually? Do you have it just because you want to collect it?
Poofy Goof said it right here in the comments. It's only vanity if you don't make music with it, and that's just exactly my point as well.
Yeah, good point.
So,
very good point.
Well, I use my gear. It's a little bit, of course, now that I'm older, making more money than my 15-year-old self could have ever done back in the day. It was a little bit cheaper a few years ago to buy stuff. Now things have just exploded in price. So everything, this one, I guess if I could sell this now, I could be almost a millionaire. But I probably won't do that. But to me, I like to have my gear a little bit because of the collectors, the gas, the gear acquisition syndrome. But mostly because I like the old gear. I enjoy the the MKS series. It looks good, but it also sounds good as well. There's something with the analog or digital analog sound, the hardware. Emulation is good, and as you stated many times, in the box it can sound just as good as well. But it's just the road to the end product is a little bit more inspiring, gives you more pleasure, using gear.
Exactly. That's what I've said many times. I like to use the gear I lusted after in the 80s and some of the gear I actually had in the 80s, because the road to the result is the most important thing for me, because if I don't enjoy the road getting to the final mix, I won't make my best music. So that's why I need to be inspired and feel creative, and that's why I use the old stuff. But let me ask you this. What do you do when your gear breaks down? Because vintage gear, as we know, will break down a lot if you're unlucky, and you can have it repaired. But do you do your own repairs? What do you do?
All depends. I'm no electronics expert, so I can do basic repairs. I can change caps and solder a few things down there, but I have to send it away. I have a buddy at work who actually is a bit of a geek, Trond, which probably is watching right now. So if you're watching, hey, hello, Trond.
Hello, Trond.
He's probably gonna. Yeah, where I have agreed with him to actually go through a little bit of my gear and fix it. Some of the modules are making a little bit of whine noise, and power supplies are starting to fail. They're 40 years old right at the moment, 30 years old. So I try to use them as much as possible, a little bit now and then. It's not power on all the time. For tonight, it's everything on, but usually I just use what I feel like using at any given point of time. Then I can power on when I need, and then if I don't need it, I turn it off. And so yeah, but it's
how many watts do you draw tonight, having everything basically on?
Right now, I have to go out of let me check Tibber, the Norwegian.
Anders using an app here to check out his watt consumption at this very moment.
Right now it's 3,500 watts, but that's because the AC is running as well, because I needed to cool. I could open the door, but back there, but then you're probably going to get some noise from cars outside and stuff. So
basically, with everything you have in the shot here, or what we've seen so far, is only 3,500 watts. That's not as much as some people would like to believe.
No, it's I've clocked it in at 2.5 kilo, so 2,500 approximately. That's a normal use when I turn off everything else in my apartment, and everything's on. And not everything is on as well, because I have a couple of gears and modules and effects that doesn't, which is not power on and not hooked up, so it's not entirely, but
In case any of you watching are wondering about if you're going to ask or answer questions, I do have an eye on the chat to the right here, and I'll pick out some questions as we go along. And at the end of this live session, we'll do a sort of roundup where we'll answer some questions. Unfortunately, we will not be able to answer everything. I guess this is not a Q&A session as such, but we wanted to try and answer some of the questions. And what I've seen so far, which is not actually directed at the vintage gear, is your elaborate camera setup, Anders, for this live stream. Would you just give us a little glimpse of how you connected all these things to show us this in this very advanced way?
Yeah, you mean a diagram or just?
No, just your joystick and the video mixer and stuff like that.
Well, it's basically this is the Panasonic control. So this is well, right now this doesn't work, but this one controls cameras, and I can control different cameras with I have 4 of these cameras, so they are. Hang on, I have to do this, and then we have to go here. This is the Panasonic. I'm not sure if it's that easy to see, but Panasonic. It's like these cameras were really hot when the pandemic set in. So everybody was buying in, doing live streams. So then I have I don't see the box right now because it's hidden down in the underneath my desk, but I have a scaler from Analog Way. It's a French company, which does, this is just a medium-sized scaler, so it does 10 inputs and 2 outputs, which I then feed all my cameras into, and then I route everything, so I have all my sources. So you have all the cameras in the top here 4 cameras, 5 with the overhead camera, my Sony A6400 camera. A screen grab from my DAW and another Mac, plus your live feed in return, so I can look at your screen on my other DAW computer as well. And then well, I also have, hang on, let's zoom. I had to mix everything. I have 2 belt packs, 1 wireless microphone, and then I have an in-ear monitoring system, which I use to connect, so I can listen to you when you speak, and I can also hear myself without having any sound from my speakers, which would interfere with the sound. So when I play, you can hear clean audio. So yeah, basically that's it, I think. Your mic is muted, actually, Espen.
I have to unmute my microphone here. But I hope you guys watching can appreciate the elaborate setup Anders has made up for us to really
and also
showcase.
Added some lights as well, of course. But
yeah,
you need lighting to.
Absolutely, you need lighting. So, well, Anders, what I really wanted to do in this live stream, and we're coming to that now. This is all really building up to this moment here, because I started out by saying that when I make a song from scratch, I start by composing the song with the chords, the structure, as much of the words as I can at the same time. So I come from a classic, or I work as a classic singer-songwriter type of thing, where I make the song before I even start working on the arrangement of sounds and producing, etc., etc. But I know that that's really not what everyone does these days, and you do it in a different way. So what I want to challenge you, and you've had some time to prepare mentally for this, but hopefully. I would like,
we'll see.
Yeah, I would like myself and hopefully others would like to see how you start up a new song, basically from scratch. Do you care to show us how you actually do that with your setup?
Yeah, well, let's try. We can see. Let's see what happens. First of all, it's 2 different approaches. If I'm making a song, if I'm redoing another song, like a cover or something, I will use the original recording, and I'll drag it and drop it into my DAW, and then work from there and time align tempos and stuff, and then kind of this one guides it kind of like dictates how it's going to be done.
Sure.
But if I'm making something from scratch, I would use my this is my DAW, and this is my default setup with practically every track and a couple of Nexus. It says Nexus 3, but that's wrong. I have to update it. It's Nexus 4. The owner of Nexus actually was so kind to send me an upgrade. He liked my music on Bandcamp and said, "Hey, have a free one." That was a very nice gesture. So I'm using Nexus 4. This is the kind of like my go-to all-in-one Rompler. So I got a few of the expansions kits that I figured that could suit me. So I use this one. I have all my gear, and then I have my hang on, let's find this one. I have my samples. So it's kind of like threefold. I use for kicks and snares. I usually use I kind of like I use too much. I think I should try to find some more new ones. But Sennheiser 80s retro drummer, because it's a little bit of it's been a lot of 80s music in the last couple of years. So and we should. Of course, I don't have any sound because I have changed it. That was stupid. Hang on. Output should be this one. I hope. No.
A little ghost in the machine there.
Yeah, no. I had to change because I was doing some test. Now you can hear it. So
yeah.
Then I can sample, just by So usually this is my favorite kick drum of all. So let's go with that one and see what happens.
Sure. Just a basic scratch, your workflow.
Yeah, so I have my layouts here. So I usually do the kick drums. I use samples, kicks and snares and some claps and toms on audio tracks.
Do you play them in or do you draw them in?
I just drop them. So let's see if we're gonna do this one. So we do this, get one of those, and let's do one of my favorite snares. I think it's this or
a gated snare.
Yeah, this is one of the. As you can see, I've color coded those I like.
Yeah.
So I think this is the most. So I just put them here. I'm using a smaller screen because I'm screening up. I usually bigger, super wide screen that has a bigger resolution. But
yeah, we had to compromise.
We had to go 1080p tonight.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So then we are. Let's say. And then we just copy these, and then we do. Well. Hang on, I was a little bit. Of course, this is. I forgot this one. You can select grid layout. So we go here. Just copy paste. Just doing a very simple pattern. I will go in later and do. Oops. More advanced rhythms, but let's say for this sake that we do this one. And now we need to, of course, I found a bug in my setup. I have, just a quick, this is the outputs, just single-wise. I use my LS9 mixer, which is kind of like, well, maybe I should actually do a quick talk about my setup. What do you think, Espen?
Just show us how you work, flesh out a new song, just the way you're doing right now.
Because I'm sending these to my, I have stem mixes on my my LS9. So now we have this one going. Simple beat going like this, and then I usually do percussion live because I don't like to drop a lot of hi-hat samples. Because
so you're finger drumming the percussion after you lay down some kicks and some snares.
Yeah. Now we have channel 11 on the Yamaha, which is power standard kit 2. If I do this, you can see here. Oh, and then we do recording. So we have a hi-hat, and we do a crash like that. That's a basic beat, and I also do a lot of. Hang on, let me do this. You can see a little bit like that should be okay. Maybe we can do this. Easy for you guys to see. Well, it depends. This is like it depends. Sometimes I do a drum beat. Other times I play around looking for sounds. So if I go. I don't know. I usually do the modules and the synthesizers are. I should be more creative with those and do a little bit more of advanced stuff, but they usually tend to play the same sound or variations.
But you now lay down some drums and you're starting to work on a bass or a melodic line. Is that the way you go about it?
I usually go. Well, let's use a little bit in the box as well. So we have bass. Find. We'll find out a sound that we like.
So you're just browsing sounds to get inspired now? Is that the workflow?
Yeah, so then
we're
it
doing right now?
depends. Let's see if we go to Nexus here, if we go to this one. So like this, for instance.
Yeah, so did you record that now?
No, just play it.
Okay.
So now this one is going.
Nice. So is this quantized to 16th right now in your template?
I usually go quantize. I usually quantize to 16 straight, so it's a little bit of.
Yeah, I know.
I can go into 66 swing or tuplets, whatever. But I'm kind of defaulting to 16 notes.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Was this a chord sequence you had prepared for before, or did you just play it now?
I just winged it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Nice.
So it depends if I want a synth bass or do I want a sometimes well, if you're making synth music, let's do some synth bass stuff.
Yeah, the bass is the natural progression now to make, don't you think?
So okay, let's see what we're doing here. Let's try it.
Yep.
Oops. It tends to be a lot of retakes.
I know.
So this was just a poorly. I would probably spend a little bit more time honing in and finding the right rhythm. So
Yeah, but it actually sounds very nice, and I see in the comments here that people think it's a kind of 80s vibe, not unnatural, of course. And yes, Anders has been doing this for
many years.
How many years?
Well, I have developed. It used to be different. A lot of different approaches over the years. I was very hard into the more like 90s EDM, just as you also did a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
But
with the bass you had here or have in is that from a plugin or hardware?
This was a plugin. This was Nexus 2. I was hang on. Let's see. SH Heaven. So that's Roland SH 101, I think, or something.
But let me challenge you a little bit here now. The next track you're going to lay down, if I challenge you to do this from, say, the
Sure.
JX 3P, for instance, can you do that on the fly?
JX 3P. Well,
Yeah.
that will be. Hang on. That would be keyboard rack 1. Where are you? There you are.
So that's the 3P you're playing on right now.
That's the 3P. Hang on, let me change my camera.
Yep.
That would be this one. It's a little bit awkward position right here now. So this is the Kiwi mod, and I haven't. Sorry to say, I haven't upgraded my Rob controller, the retroactive. So this one needs to be upgraded so I can actually use it properly. So these are the sounds that you sent, so I don't know if there's any good sounds in here at all. I don't know. Okay, I have gone into edit mode, so let's just
Yeah.
do this.
I know this Kiwi synth very well, actually, and
Yeah.
I think you can access the presets from the A and B bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a nice one.
Brass sound. So
Yeah.
let's see if we can do this one. And just wing it. So we see 1, 2. Just need to go around a couple times and figure out. Then leave room for something else.
Yeah.
Because as we go along, I would also like to iterate that when you do stuff like this, think of Mark Knopfler.
Yeah.
And from Dire Straits, less is more. It's always less is more, but also layering is good.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, because leave room for stuff. Don't let anything play all the time, every time, everything on top of it. You like do something, and then you leave room for something to come in and do what we call questions and answers, stuff like that. So
I have a question here in the comment section that I think we both can answer, and I'll go first. I'll even put it up on screen here. From Tommy Lee, he's asking, do you have any limiters on master chain during composing process? I'll answer for my first, and you can do second, Anders. And I'll show my face here as well. When I work in the DAW after I've composed my song and start working on the sounds, etc., I always have the bus compressor on the master output in my DAW, either in plugin form or in hardware form. I use the SSL bus compression, and for me it's essential to have that on the master output, because it'll give me a little sense of how everything is glued together at the end in the mixing process. So I never take that off. I have that on from the get-go. It's only taking a couple of dBs, 2 or 3 dBs, and very not a lot of ratios, just a simple 2-to-1 or something like that. So I always have that on. How about you, Anders?
Well, right now I have turned my off. I used the silver bullet. Hang on, let me see. Control mixing session. You can see it's hard to to show. If we go a little bit down here, this is the silver bullet from Dr. What do you call it again? Loud Run Liftoff, Doctor something.
Yeah, Loud Run Liftoff. Yes.
Yeah. So it's. I bought it. It cost buttloads of money. I'm thinking of selling it and just getting the SSL Fusion because I think it's better for me.
But you have it on your master output when you're working on music.
Well, I usually tend to turn it off because I haven't really found a good setting that I like. So I feel like it's squishing too much, and it doesn't really do anything if I put it way down. So.
Okay, so you do your limiting or compression of your master file after you've stopped working on the mix.
I try to keep my levels on my mixer. This is the meter. You can't see it right now, but if I go up here, it's hidden underneath my desk. I needed to make a desk, as you can see, to keep my my 2 extra Macs. So these 2 Macs are controlling all the Behringer X32 mixers, so that I can do these, control all my keyboards. I think just have to clarify to people that I have so many outputs going into 5 different mixers that then again go into stems into my LS9. So Yamaha, there we go.
Yeah.
So they all come in here. Well, this is the microphone recording, and then I have all my 5 X32 mixers, and then I have my various stuff like further down the line there.
So what Anders is saying is basically that he has so many sound sources that he has to stem mix his sources, so he doesn't really work in the same way as I do, where I have everything coming up on one master fader, so I can have my SSL bus compressor on my master stereo output as I work, but that's not really possible for Anders in the same way. So again, the different workflows, the different technical setups makes us do things differently, even in that regard. Yes.
Because my setup is a live setup, so everything is live all the time. So I can go quickly.
Yeah.
I can quickly go back to my DAW, and I can go and change in my song, and I can go back and forth, and I can change the MIDI notes, because I work entirely in MIDI. So that's why all the gear I use has to be, if I'm going to buy it, it has to be MIDI based, so that I can control it.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, I have to spend like a lot of time finding a synth, hooking it up, recording it, and then sometimes I really want to quantize stuff, and then if it's off and the recording is off, then it's gonna kind of like be irritating all the time. So I need to quantize.
Sure.
So.
But going back to that pattern you made for us in a minute ago.
Yeah.
So the next step for you in that process would be to sort of make a new section of the song. If you're happy with what you have so far, would you now copy the drums and start working on some new bass lines and harmonies for the rest of the structure, or how do you approach the next step in your creative process?
Yeah, if I'm happy with what I've done, I usually go here and I make markers and I select everything, and then I copy. So I have a new section here. Usually I start really early on trying to figure out, it would usually be an intro, but right now it's just a pattern. It's probably, I usually start with a hook, more or less. So it's like either chorus or a hook line that could be parallel to the chorus. It all depends. So let's see if this is, well, this could be verse right now because it's just it's made. So let's make a bridge. And then the drums could be the same, but we need to change the melody lines. So here's the bass. If we go here and change the loops, now it's looping everything. This is very quick and dirty. Usually take a little bit more time. But if we go here from the start, oh, this needs to be fixed. It was not good. Some MIDI lag going on.
Yeah.
So at that point we are, let me show you this. And then a bridge could be going up to F, for instance. So now we can do something exciting.
Yeah, nice.
Let's see if I can remember that. Like that.
Cool.
So then we have, I would probably change the sound. This sound is a little bit messy. It does a little bit too much. We need to go down reverb and echo. It's a little bit long. You know, you have to select sounds a little bit according to what they do. This one is filling a lot of the frequency spectrum, but let's go with it for now. So just to show.
Sure.
So we have the bass. Let's try it. Just wing it. Oh, sorry. I'm going to keep the F. We can do this. So one.
Little pedaling of the bass there.
Exactly. So, and that leads to, so already now we could go into details regarding, you know, composing. We're covering a lot of stuff at the same, but I also I really don't I really don't plan chords. I just play, but I know a little bit where to go, where they gonna lead.
Sure.
But there's a lot of just feeling it, and then figure out, okay, what does the sound feel like when I'm playing it, and where does it want to take me, and then kind of like I lead it, and then I do a little bit of figuring what feels right.
Yeah.
So
you're building up everything in MIDI right now. Even that JX3P is played back through MIDI.
yeah, that's
So
correct.
so you build up everything in MIDI sort of basically, and mix things down at the end into audio stems then.
Yeah. So when everything is done, I could just show you quickly here. I usually have a mix down at the bottom here. So this is a mix down track, audio track that goes. Everything goes from the LS9 mixer and then into the Mackie Big Knob, which is also a USB interface. So that will come in here and then be, hang on, that will be this one actually. So, and this will be off. So now I can do all this, and I can record it into a stereo track at the bottom. And then once everything is mixed, I can go from there, and then I do mastering afterwards.
Yeah. So if I bring myself up again, so again, the way I do it, I record every synth one at a time, and I'm not afraid to layer down the recorded synths wet. If I want to have lots of delays and reverbs on them, I record them that way into the DAW straight away. So I have to commit to some creative choices during that process. But in your case, you have to do somewhat like that as well, because if you mix down to stems, you have to make some decisions before you're mixing down. Or how do you do it?
They're all well, it depends a little bit. All the soft synths are, of course, as they are. So if I go to Nexus for this case, oops, I was wrong. That was the MIDI track. But let's find a sound. Well, here's some drums, but if I want to do here, let's see. They are all. This is. I wouldn't probably use this for other than like an extra drum track. Maybe some kicks can be wet, but I usually like to have wet snares. Mm-hmm. But my kick drum, which is here. Sorry, it's down here. This is on a dry track on my LS9. It goes in on 1 and 2, which is usually just dry. So it will be just be like this. There is a little bit of reverb from the sample itself, but that's okay.
Sure.
But everything else would be let's see. What do we have here? We have what kind of module would you like to listen to?
Sure, take the EX8000.
The EX8000.
The Korg EX8000.
Well, that's the B. Let's do the. I have two of them. So one is. That one usually plays on Espen Craft pad.
Yeah, I recognize these sounds. This sound.
So that one will go through. So I can show you this one. This is my. My first Mac, which has the X32 app. So the EX here is already, as you can see here, I have a little bit of reverb. Mm-hmm. So I usually put some long tail reverb. I put some stereo chorus.
Where's that reverb coming from in the chorus? Is that something inside the...
This is inside the Behringer X32 mixer. So I'm using a lot of onboard effects. Some delay, maybe some shorter. So I usually do a little bit of... I've set up a long reverb, a shorter reverb. I have delay, and then I have some stereo chorus to kind of like fatten things up. So
sure.
If you go to...
Someone is asking how long this live stream are going to be, and it will go on for as long as it has to get through
72 hours, right?
Yeah,
we can do that. Nah, as long as you guys want.
I think in the next 10 hours or so it'll be finished.
No, it's let's keep it short and nice,
Sure,
short
sure.
and sweet, right?
Sure.
So
absolutely.
this is the four first ones of my TX 816. So they are panned. You can see they are panned left and right a little bit less. Then I have different settings of synths here.
Can you zoom in on the TX816 rack?
I can, but it's not really. Here we go. Hang on. Let's see if
I like to see that camera setup of yours myself. Yeah, it's down there.
I can't go a little further down, so
No.
I need to physically move the camera.
You can see it in the middle down there.
You can see the four first LEDs are showing.
So now you're actually playing 4 DX7s simultaneously.
So I would usually have the Strymon Big Sky, but I haven't. I've been a little bit lazy. I should have done the professional. What do you call it? The patch bay route and connect all my mixers into a patch bay so that I can actually plug those outboards effects I have into where I want them. So right now the DX and the TX 816 is using actually Behringer reverb,
Yeah.
but I've been using it for the last 3 years and nobody has complained anything. So you know now that all my this is Uli Behringer.
Yeah, sure.
Creeping
Uli
in on the 80s.
Uli to the rescue. Let me ask you this, Anders. I'm doing a completely sideline here, but have you been asked to do any sort of stag nights or hen nights inside your studio where the bride or groom are coming in to sing a song paid for by the best man or the wedding posse? Because I used to do that in the 90s. I run a commercial studio and I had a big mixer and everything. I mean, a big large console. And at one Saturday, the whole wedding posse came in, and the bride was going to sing, and all the other participants of her posse was just spilling champagne and beer all over my mixer, and that was the end of that. A digression there, but
never.
Whatever you do,
here.
whatever you do, don't do that.
No, it's Christina, my good friend who from back in junior high, who has been singing and doing all the vocals on all my stuff, and of course a few others. Terje Tylden, who's a new guy.
Sure.
And a couple of professional musicians that come to record. Børge Are, who does the saxophone and stuff.
Yeah.
Only those guys and only people who are sober and prepared to do proper work. Stag nights and hen nights, you'll find some other studios. This is too expensive. Because I don't have any space for that other than just one vocalist. There's a little bit of room noise and everything. So if we're doing very low key classical stuff, it wouldn't really be nice. I need to be a little bit louder volume music, so that I can mask the noise on the recordings.
Because here's a question from Alexander. How do you deal with all the noise coming from the rack modules? So how do you deal with all the noise, Anders?
Careful gating, EQing, and using only what I need. Because the sound, if everything is on, I don't know if you can hear it on the stream. I think it's pretty okay right now, but if I crank up the volume, you can hear there's a lot of going on. Some modules are making more. The JX, or the JX 3P that you got, that we swapped.
That's making a lot of noise from the chorus chips.
Yeah. The chorus things, and I have some issues with some of the modules as well. So there are a little bit of hum coming here and there. So I need to figure out. But Trond is going to help me with that. So we hope to.
Yeah.
But the noise floor is loud when everything is up. But that's just the way it is. It's 80s modules. Yeah. They do make a lot of hiss, so you kind of either have to live with it. If you listen to the Attack of the Pesky Robots soundtrack that I did, the alternate soundtrack, because I didn't have time to do the proper soundtrack that Noel did. But those songs were all done by modules, no samples except for the first track, which has some kicks and snares. But everything else is just my live modules, very heavily focused on the MKs and some TX stuff. And I've cut everything in the start, but on the low part you can hear there's a lot of noise floor going, but that's just what it is. But it still sounds pretty okay. So and it translated very well on the onto vinyl for some reason. So and cassette.
I say embrace the noise and go authentic. Here's another question I think is interesting for you to answer. I might answer it as well, but you can go first. Anders, is there a risk that all the equipment and all the possibilities will become overwhelming and paralyze the creative side of it from monochrome here? Very interesting and very relevant question if you have a lot of gear.
Definitely, yes. I've had some rounds going here like, oh crap, I've come into my studio, I sat down and I want to do something and like, oh, I really don't have the creative side is sometimes it's a little bit up and down. So and if it's on a downward wave, sometimes I shut it down and I just go do something else. Because it's like Jean-Michel Jarre said early in the 90s, having too much gear can really inhibit your creative side. So I like to gather stuff. I like to have as much as possible because I really didn't have anything when I was a kid. I just had one keyboard, and I already then felt that it was a little bit closing or was it inhibiting. But at the same time, those Technics keyboards were also very conductive to my making. I made more songs on those two keyboards than I probably done so far in this studio, but still. But it's a balance. I guess you just have to go with it and try to do whatever feels right.
Let me answer it as well. I'm not saying what I'm about to say to put anyone else down, but since I make my music from scratch only with a piano and song, I don't have to turn to gear to get creative or inspired as such, because when I have written my song with music and lyrics and the chord and the structure, I can then just sort of pick out sounds from that moment. I don't use the gear to help me develop the song. So again, different workflows can sometimes mean different things in the creative process as well when it comes to using a lot of outboard gear. So that's just one other side of that coin, so to speak.
Yeah,
I see. Where did you buy your Simmer glasses? Henrik is asking. That's a good one, Henrik. And I hadn't noticed, but I think you're actually wearing my glasses now, and you left those in my studio last time, didn't you? And you're using mine. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I think mine is 4, mine is 5, so pretty blind. But
exactly.
I bought mine back in Valdres, where I come from, supporting the local shops. So using them for 4 or 5 years right now.
Exactly. So as you probably noticed, dear audience and anyone watching, this is the time to send in questions. If you have questions, ask them now, because this stream is not going to last too much longer. So we'll answer some questions at the end here. So just keep them popping right now, and we'll see who gets drawn out from the box. But I have one here, which I can definitely say I do not have any diploma in sound engineering at all. Although I've worked in a lot of studios and run a studio myself, I don't have any sort of sound engineering diplomas. I have a degree in electronics, but that's not the same. How about you, Anders? Do you have any diplomas?
There was this. I have. Well, we get back to my my history, my way up here, but. In 1997 to 1998, I went to what we call in Norway folkehøyskole, which is like a 9-month school year, a little bit outside the normal school system. It's like usually sometimes a Christian school, sometimes just a liberal school thing. But you choose the school after your liking if you want to do wilderness stuff, outdoor stuff. If you want to do creative stuff, you can go to school. Who does that? I went to Manger, which is out in Bergen on the west coast. And they have a music group, a music course, which is the brass band and the sound studio, and then there was at the same time aviation. 8 people doing some, training to be flight controllers and stuff. But the sound studio, that was my kind of my main education in this theory, except for doing the local music school. Everything else has been self-taught, and I have a brevkurs, what do you call it in English? The
letter course.
Letter course, and the condensed version from NIS, which used to be Norwegian Institute for Sound and Sceneteknikk or something, back in Oslo, which is like the big thing back in the 90s and early 2000 before they were merged into something else. So I have that one. I have the like a folder with all the theory of sound engineering. Plus, I've been doing your music from and tinkering with tape recorders and cassette recorders and electronics by just opening up and looking at it and playing with it, and keyboards and synths and so on. And then doing live sound from 1995 until, I started with music, then live sound, and then I got into AV in rental business. But
you should put that diploma on the wall, like a dentist or a chiropractor. They like to have that on the wall.
It's gone.
Here's another one, which is very interesting because AI is the talk of the town right now. And Torsten, he is asking, I guess both of us, Merry Christmas, and I'd like to know what task would you like AI take over in mix and mastering, which is non-creative and repetitive? And I'll answer first. I don't want IA in any part of my music at all, actually. I want to do everything old school, by hand, if I can, and I mix and master everything myself, of course, and I will not have anyone else do it, nor AI, and I really don't like AI at all in the creative world, so to speak.
Yeah,
that's my take
question.
on it.
Interesting question. I don't see anything in my workflow as well. I don't see what AI could do other than bouncing and processing files when I'm
mess things up.
Yeah, but I don't see where AI could fit in because this is the big issue everyone is doing, but with graphics and pictures like everybody's doing these days, those avatars you can get, and then that's okay because that's a medium AI could do. But I feel making music, I've seen a couple of other guys on YouTube and other people saying that it will come, and of course it probably will. And it depends highly on the music itself, because now we're getting into territory discussing music styles and quality, which can be like a hornet's nest. But you, like me, I guess we are both the old school way. We did we went the long way from rehearsing at those local youth clubs, with poor monitoring and crappy PA systems and shitty drum sets and everything. And we walked the line, we walked a mile, right? And we did everything the hard way, and it was saved up for gear that was limiting. You have the small, everything was. Today we have so much polyphony, so much power, so much sound. Everything is just out there, and it's good that people can try to do things these days, but the problem is with the bed, what do you call it, bedroom producers, or the producers is also one of my big pet peeves, calling themselves producers. They're composers and musicians, but anyway, that's a different discussion. But everybody has access now, so it's so watered down. It's so much noise. Everybody's look at me. There's like a flood of people making music, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that not everybody is doing it well. And because I come from an old perspective of choosing harmonies correctly. I want melodies. I want what you call the tessitura of the harmony of the lines to be interesting instead of today it's just one. It's just like a 3, 4, 5
exactly.
notes. If you listen to pop music today, it's just one line.
The top line
notes
just
going.
goes up here.
It doesn't go anything. There's no.
Exactly.
If you listen to this is my example. If you listen to Chess the musical, there is nothing above. People are gonna argue, but I say that Chess the musical from the ABBA guys.
Yeah.
There is nothing above that musical ever. And
I know you love
it will
Chess.
never be because. And if you listen to the songs, you listen to the composition, to the harmonies, to the vocal lines, everything is perfect. It just fits every song. There's nothing wrong with that. This has been my kind of like backbone of listening to music. I want music to take you on a journey.
Absolutely.
Sure, things today are looking. It sounds nice. It's loud. And it's very catchy. But it feels like you're eating cotton candy and you're not eating substance. There's some substance missing. So, and I feel that AI can do pop music very well. And it has already done a lot. I've tried one of those generators online. It's like, well, it sounds just exactly like the pop charts today, but there's no meat, sorry to say, but there is no meat. And so that's my 10 cents or 15 cents or what do you want to.
And that answers a couple of the questions in the chat as well, how we feel about modern music today. And I agree with everything you said, actually. And modern pop music has it's really watered down to.
I see my buddy Petter Olden is here.
Okay, nice.
Good you're watching.
So there's some I see there's some discussion or opinions in the chat section now about AI, and we can disagree or agree. AI is here to stay. I have to acknowledge that AI will take a larger place in creative arts in the years to come, but I don't like it. That's another thing.
Exactly. So we'll just go to our graves and we'll be buried with our sins, and that's it. So it's okay.
And if you're wondering, he's talking about Chess, the musical by the guys from ABBA, with Murray Head singing "One Night in Bangkok" and stuff like that. So that's a very nice musical, very nice made music. So let's see. We have a couple of questions here. I'll put them up here.
Do you want to talk about chords and stuff on there, like, you know?
I just have one question here from the Synth Addict. I've answered this in my other live streams before this one, so you can check that back on my channel. But Anders, favorites and least favorites synths in your collection, and why? You have to please the synth community a little bit as well. So name a few of your hardware favorites and hardware not so much favorites.
Yeah, it's so hard to. It's like Jerry Seinfeld when he's doing his Q&A. It was his favorite episodes. Like, they're all my babies. How can I choose? But I guess I always go back to the MKS80. You know, the Jupiter in box form, or Jupiter 7 if you want to be. The fanboys are disputing.
Yeah, that's a wormhole in itself. If MKS80 is a Jupiter 836. Yeah.
Let's see. We have. I guess I really do like my racks. I guess the TX 816 MKS80.
Yeah.
Would be and the ESQM are three of my favorites. Least favorite. I guess.
Which synth do you use the less and less, basically, in your studio?
I guess the DSS1, but that's just because it isn't powered up, and it's really hard to. The one up there, that's hard to load sounds.
I think you should get rid of that Ensoniq Fismo. That's really not doing anyone any good, is it?
Well, the guy I bought it from was like, "Oh, you have to keep this one." So yeah, I know. Or is it? So I guess Fismo. Fismo is also one of those. Everybody knows this. This is hard to get. Everybody's craving it, but it's very 90s. It's very that kind of wavetable thing. But when I'm playing it, I usually play number 39 is like a brass.
Yeah.
Because those sounds doesn't do anything for me. Too tinny, so it's I don't know. Yeah, I guess I could get rid of that, but I probably won't.
No.
But yeah, there are some synths like this that could be. But I don't know. I think I used to I come to a point where I don't need any more synthesizer. I feel full. I feel saturated. I have enough to deal with as this. So
Yeah.
I have a lot of things to investigate. I could get some Prophet. I could get some Moogs or Moogs or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, that's a
Stuff
wormhole
like
in
that,
itself.
but more Oberheims and stuff like that. But firstly, I don't have any money. I don't have any space, and I have everything I need here. I can make all the sounds I need. And if I need something, I can just get a plug-in. So, but all the things I have here, I kind of like. I like them all. So I guess, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
No really.
Here's another interesting one. Again, more about composition and production arrangement, stuff like that. And this question, it would be fun if you guys watching could list your favorites as well in the comment section or the chat section here. But we and Anders will answer this to both of you from Holmes Consultancy. If you had to choose one song or a song that you feel is the perfect pop song in terms of production songwriting, what would it be? Anders, you can go first, so can I think a little bit about it?
You mean pop songs that have been done?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Ooh,
Your favorite pop song, which you think are beautifully made on all levels, both composition, arrangement, and production.
Wow, pop songs is hard to take. Right now, I'm listening to a lot of West Coast LA, so I'm really not really listening to the top 40 stuff. I'm into jazz rock, LA fusion, West Coast stuff.
Yeah.
And the old my old favorites, Jean-Michel Jarre and Andreas Vollenweider. But pop songs, I guess Take On Me is a good one.
Sure.
Since always shines on TV. Most of those hits from Aha's first album, the Hunting High and Low album, is good. They are all good.
What else?
Really good.
There's so many good songs to choose from.
Yeah, pop songs. That's hard to choose as well. I have a lot of songs that I could go into detail and talk about the production value and stuff like that. Chess, obviously. Many of the ABBA songs, because they did really do good production.
Yeah.
So, but nothing really springs to mind right now.
I really like Rocket Man, Elton John. I think that's one of the really best songs ever made, actually. I really like that Elton John period of music. I think he is one of the greatest songwriters of all times, actually. So Rocket Man is definitely on my top list of great songs. And I also like Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush, which I think is really good.
Yeah,
simple but very effective. And sure, Aha, of course, since we're both Norwegian, we love our Ahas. And we have to. we have to. So,
but the old Aha, not the new one. Sorry, I'm sorry, guys.
No.
I'm really fan of the 3 first albums, but afterwards, sorry, it's too mushy.
If you guys from Aha is watching this, which you're probably not, please go back to where you started and
just a quick story if you have time.
Like that. Sure.
I went to see one of the Aha's. I think it was the Foot of the Mountain tour. One of the last ones in 2009 was that we're gonna quit. but we're going to do a lot of shows. But I went since Oslo Spectrum, the biggest arena at the time,
Sure.
and they played all those Aurora songs and all the Foot on the Mountains things, right? And it was just a mushy bed of drones, and there was no definition. And then suddenly they played Take On Me was remastered and remixed and was different, so it wasn't real, but Sun Always Shines on TV and a couple of ones, they really hit me in the face, and you can really hear that the 80s production, and that really told me that the mixing quality of how you do the frequencies and kind of like scope everything in the 80s was on par. It was really spot on, because it really it translates well into live arenas. Because the new stuff was just very mushy, very big pad. Everything was just full, and you couldn't really hear anything. So that's why I go back to the 80s.
Yeah, definitely.
Pop song. Waiting for a Star to Fall. That's my choice.
Yeah.
From
That's a very
Boy
nice
Meets
one.
Girl.
Yeah, that's a very nice one. Very nice one.
There you have it.
So, yeah, I think that's basically wraps up what we had for you tonight, guys and girls, everyone watching. It's been a lot of fun. And if you want to watch this live stream back, it will be on my channel, of course. The live chat, I'll have to say this again, the live chat replay will not appear straight away after this live stream ends. It takes sometimes up to 24 hours before the live chat becomes available from live streams. Just be aware of that. Another thing, if you like this format I've presented you today with a guest and just talking about stuff and showing a little bit of the practical side of things and maybe make up some sounds on the spot, etc., etc., I'd be happy to do more streams like this. And if you have suggestions for guests, please let me know in the comment section to this live stream after it ends. Please use the comment section to the live streams as a regular video, so I can see what you think about the concepts. And Anders, did you have a great time tonight?
Yeah, sure, it was nice. Hope I showed all you wanted me to show.
Yeah,
I didn't do my old studio pictures, but that's okay.
Sure.
They're not so great to look at anyway. So.
Do you have anything to add at the end here that you think you didn't have the chance to express? So let us know.
I think it was okay. I could, of course, if you want to know more about composition stuff, but you know that. So, but more for the viewers, if there's any questions, regarding choice of chords, I like inversions, what kind of things I kind of tend to go for, stuff like that. So
we can do another live stream at another time. This doesn't have to be a one only. We can do a sequel or many sequels.
Yeah. I
so
may not do all
days.
this elaborate setup all the time because I'm borrowing it in the Christmas because now there's nothing going out work. But later, all this gear will be out earning money. So
I only have one camera. But Lady Aptitude here is asking, and I think we should oblige her. Can we hear that track you created again?
Oh well, track that wasn't. It's not that really big. Well, you can hear. I really don't like. I think I'm going to do the. I'm going to remove the GX3P because it sounds crap. So here we go. Now we need to go to some kind of chorus line, but I didn't get to finish. Maybe I'll finish it later.
Yeah, I really liked it. I think you should work more on it and finish it and maybe present it maybe on another live stream or on your own channel and stuff like that, so we can see how have it developed into one of your usual catchy 80s, 90s bangers, which you're very famous for, and I like as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'll see what I can do. I have a lot of stuff going on right now. I need to finish up a lot of old songs that have been nagging.
Yeah. Well, then I guess we have to wrap this up, and both me and Anders will want to wish you all a Merry Christmas still and a Happy New Year coming in a couple of days now. And yeah, and we hope to see you both on our respective channels. I will release new videos, of course, straight after the year turns over into 2023. And I know Anders has a lot of cool things on his plate as well to show you guys. So with that, we'll just sign off and wish you well, and see you next time.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Bye. Cheers.
Cheers.